Hello? Good morning. Lonnie said, just get up there and start talking. You don't need any introduction. So I'll introduce myself to you who may not know me. Most of you, many I do. Our time together has gone back quite a while here at Pleasant Valley. But I am Benny Baker. And also with me this morning is my wife, Donna. We're just thankful to be here. And thankful for this congregation and what you mean to us and to the mission. And it's, as I met a few minutes with the elders just a few minutes ago, I just had to come to them to say thank you. And so much of what we're about this morning is kind of thank you, especially in this first part. And also to let you see a few things of what you are about and partnering with, because this mission is all about partnership. And partnership is what makes missions, what makes it work, because it's people doing what they can do so more can be done. God never put us in the family of believers to do things by ourselves. He put them there for us to do it together. And because, as I've said, this way, what is partnership? Partnership is this. You do something, we do something, God puts it together, and we can do something we can never do apart from each other. That's just how the family of believers work. And I'm thankful for you. So let's have a prayer as we begin this morning. Our gracious Father, I thank you for this morning. I thank you for those that are here. And I thank you for those who are worshiping and coming together all around this world. Praise your name, in the name of your Son, Jesus. I thank you for this body here at Pleasant Valley and what they mean to us in so many different ways, Father. And I say that all in the name of Jesus. Amen. Amen. As I told the elders today, I had an interesting thing happen. Not an interesting thing, I guess. Most of you know back in August I had a health issue. That's just a mild way to say that the doctors told my wife I shouldn't have lived through it. But we'll just call it a health issue, a health event, okay? And there was a cost involved with that, and I approached the elders here. Would they help us with that cost? And the first time I can remember as a missionary asking for money that I actually had to call back and say, no, I don't need it. You know, remember in the scriptures one time Moses had the people come bringing things for the temple, and finally God said, tell them to don't bring any more. You don't need it. And that happened to me. That happened to me just a few months ago as I approached the elders and a couple of other congregations that are very intricately part of who we are and what we are about. And before they came back, and all of the congregations I approached said yes. And I had to go back to every one of them and say, thank you, but no thank you. That's how good God is. That was a really special. I don't know if I've ever had one of those before. That just, I said, hey, thank you, but somebody else needs it more than we do today, for sure. But first of all, on top of that, I want to say thank you for yesterday, for you that were. Okay, what did I do? What? Okay, do that. Well, but I got to turn it on first. Yeah, that would probably help. Now, did that work? No, that didn't work either. Pointed at you. I'm pointing. Well, guess you're going to run it. Well, I do say I'm on, and the battery is strong. Try it now. There we go. Me and technology never gets long. Yesterday, and I apologize, I wanted to have a picture of all of what's happening. That room was full. Over 100 people came yesterday to help pack. I think there's either 8 or 9 different congregations. There was a school here, Southside, I think in Fort Worth was here. There was a number of different congregations around Fort Smith, this area, was here. As I said, over 100. In just a little over 2 hours, we packed 27,210 meals. That's awesome. And all of those meals are on their way to Abilene, Texas, to put with some other meals from a packing we had back in January at Winterfest in Fort Worth, where we packed 54,000 meals, and we'll have a couple more for the summer, and all of that is going to go to Honduras. So I want you to know where that's headed. And we've already got the next packing to be done here, first Saturday of February 2027, God permitting, okay? Mark your calendars, and we'll go for 30,000. All right, Lonnie? You want to just go for 30? Yeah, 30. Okay, we'll just say we're going to go 30 next year. It wouldn't have been hard to do 30 yesterday to rate the people who were going. It was an awesome day. Last year I just talked. This year I do want to have give you some. That don't come out as clear as I'd like to do it. But as you've heard me say before about the mission, our goal is always to do as much as we can for as many people as we can, as often as we can, bringing no harm to anyone, so all can come to know our Lord. That was our initial, what they would call mission statement. We started 29 years ago. We kind of shortened in recent years, but that's still ingrained into who we are and what we think about. Our goal is simply to share Jesus as we serve others. That's what we want to be about. That's what we want to be known for. That's one of the reasons why some people ask about the mission, about what is your goals, what is your plans. And I don't mean this lightly. I mean it very truthfully. We don't have plans. I can tell you that this mission has a 5-year plan. I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell you right now what we're doing right now. Chances are I'll be back here next February, first or second Sunday of February, and I'll tell you that much of the similar stories, just with different pictures. But I also can tell you, because the way we try to function is we want God to let us know what we need to be doing and how we need to be doing it. So the pictures and the efforts may all be different, except for one thing. And that is we want everyone to come to know our Lord. That's our number one objective, and that never changes as we move in the mission every day. Basically, we function in 3 different areas. Church, that's the reason we're there. Community, I used to just call that medical, but our community involves so many other things that we'll talk about just in a few minutes. And children. So mostly whenever we talk about how we look at things, everything we do basically will fall into one of those 3 categories. The church, again, our number one reason for being there. Community, because we want to elevate the community we live in and we serve, whether it's in Nicaragua or whether it's in Honduras or whether it's Haiti. But those categories is what we strive to be about in all that we do. The church, the mission serves. We're not the church. We're part of the family of believers. What we're about is providing resources for the church to be what they need to be. Whether it's training, whether it's building buildings, whether it's material, whether it's encouragement, whatever we do, our purpose there is to be a strength to the church. One of the interesting things, government-wise, yes, we still have challenges with the government, but basically I told the elders, we're kind of where we are with them right now. They're in control, but they allow us to function, okay? The only thing they're not going to let us do in 2026 is that we're no longer being categorized as a religious organization. I ain't figured that one out yet. Because of our humanitarian projects of what we do, schools, health clinics, whatever else you want to, sustainable living projects, water filters in homes, gardens, whatever it is, because of the amount of things, which is a major chunk of what we do. We serve over Nicaragua, Honduras, and Haiti. We serve over 11,000 people directly or indirectly every month. So what they're saying to us, you doing all of those things, you can't be a religious organization. You just got to have to be a humanitarian organization. That way they can tax us more. That's a simple process of that. I keep saying, okay, but they're not stopping us to doing what we do, though. They just got a different category that they want to put us into, which is the third one in the last 18 months. But so somebody asked about the whole thing. Let me define the situation politically in Nicaragua. How do I explain normal in the abnormal? Because up high, it is nothing, there's no such sense of normality right now. No one knows exactly what's going to happen next. Down the streets, on the street level where we are, life is the same. How many heads of a coin is there? Answer. How many heads of a coin are there? Huh? 2? Heads? I say, uh-oh, I don't have a coin. Oh, yes, I do. Have a little penny. There's actually 3. There's a head. Oops, there it goes. And there's a tail. And there's a side that life rolls on. I look at it this way. In Nicaragua, we are not part of the government. We're apolitical in all that we do. We're definitely not part of the opposition. We're part of the life, the day-to-day life of people rolling down their life. Because every day a mama gets up wondering how she's going to feed her children. There's many things. Dad, how am I going to pay the rent? Life goes on. If you that have been to Nicaragua, I can tell you this right now. You can come back to Nicaragua. We're going to talk about that in a minute too. You wouldn't see anything different than when you were there before. I don't care if it's 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or I've been there 29. The day-to-day life of the Nicaraguans has not changed because they live on the edge of the coin that keeps rolling. And most of the people have no idea what's going on in Managua, pro or con. So that's where we try to function. And that's why we have to be a support to the church, to be able to be that provide resources, encouragement, and what else is needed. Because see, when I've talked to you, you've heard me say before, everything I talk about that goes on in these 3 countries, I'm talking to you about what they're doing. My role is to help that go. Your support is what helps that happen. And we're just blessed to have a staff of 144 people in 3 countries making it happen. And you know, that's one thing as we take the move down on support. The support of this mission does a lot of things. We'll talk about children, education, health, spiritual. But it also helps 144 families have a job, to live every day. I believe that's a really critical, important aspect of this mission. Not necessarily how we got started out. That was not necessarily our goal on tap, but that's what's happened today, thanks to your support. One of the things we're doing, we have 24 congregations now in the north. Currently, we have 18 that have their permanent locations. The one on the top is our newest building built. Well, there's one just completed. It'll be the newest one in Casasi, Sicily. But the one at the top is in Ladaya. The one at the bottom is actually the church in the south. where the church meets in the south part of Henotega. In Henotega, we have one congregation, but we have two places it meets. It meets on Sunday morning here, and then there's where the mission is. It also meets on Sunday nights. So those are two of the 18 buildings that we have, and our goal is that we'd like to get over the next 3 years, 4 years, a building, a permanent location for every one of the congregations. If we're all of a sudden not able to be in Nicaragua, which that could always happen, and we know that, we think the one thing that would continue would be the work of the congregations, especially if they had a home of their own. They weren't having to pay rent. Costs us about $35,000 to $40,000 to build the buildings like that you're looking up there right now. So if somebody inherits about $40,000, let us know. We got a building we could build in. We can build a building in Nicaragua. Second is community. Going back to the church, we currently have, the 24 congregations, we have 18 full-time evangelists that work with those congregations. The missions profile is we help congregate, again, with resources, we help congregations have a minister. The ministers do not work directly for the mission. They're responsible to their local congregations. Even though some of them we allow the ministers, if they do want to get on government Social Security, we will allow them to become technically a worker of the mission, but that's only just a technical term where they can get on government Social Security. We also have a Bible training program called EPO, Institute for Preparation of Workers. It will start their 2026 school year next week in Henotega. I think that we've got students from 18 of the 24 congregations registered for the classes this year. It's a 3-year program that they go through. It's a Saturday morning program, of which probably about half the ministers that we have that work with us, we have trained them. They've been trained in EPO, which has been in Henotega now. We started the Bible training program somewhere in 2001, 2002. It was the second major program that the mission started in Nicaragua. Our first one was the medical clinic that we opened in 1997, and it was the second major project that was done. The second areas that we function is community. And I'd said earlier, that lumps a lot of different things in. It goes from garden, food distribution. Right now, what you packed yesterday, a lot of that would normally go to Nicaragua, but right now we do have a challenge, and the government is really restricting us in what we can bring into the country. It causes us to have to buy a lot more stuff in the country, but things are there to purchase. Thank you. We're thankful for that. Nicaragua, even though it's a poor country, there's still resources available in country for folks. Most people just can't afford them, or they're not there when it goes from school supplies or whatever it may be. There are purchasable in country, and that's what the government wants us to do. And in some ways, I can understand that they want to help their economy, even though it affects us and affects us in how we do what we do, because it costs us more to school supplies, for example. We're somewhere about from 5 years ago to now, our expenses for things like school supplies, medicine, things of this nature has increased almost 60 to 70%. A major, major cost for us. But fortunately, and we're blessed to still be able to get it. And again, thank you, Pleasant Valley, because of your support and the support of others, we can afford to do it as well. And so that's a blessing with it. But the food distribution, with our sustainable living project, we also plant gardens. Probably one of the biggest things that we've done, besides the medical clinic, is the clean water. We have probably put 2,000 water filters, individual water filters, into homes to providing clean water. They say that one of the greatest needs in the world is clean water, and that still stays the same today. It hadn't changed. And that's a project we began somewhere about 12 years ago. Some couples came to work with us, and they were with us about 5 years, and after they gave a great beachhead for that particular project, and it continues on today. Thankful for the work of Ricardo, who loves to do that for the people. That in gardens he does. We've got a health clinic. We see about 800 patients a month in a daily medical clinic that we have in Hinotega. Of course, that's how we got to Hinotega in the first place, was our medical clinic. It was opened in October of 1997. The Casa Materna is a project we work with. This is not, Casa Materna is not necessarily a project of ours directly, because it is a quasi-government project that was began years ago. Also has some other auxiliary support to it. But we just provide supplemental support to the ladies, especially when our groups go. They go and visit and encourage. We do baby bags and things like that. Again, a cost for us that we have to curtail because we're not able to get as much in. We have so many different congregations and individuals that are so supportive specifically of Casa Materna. We have a little congregation of about 75 people in Eureka, Illinois, who 2 weeks ago, Donna and I was able to be there, and they celebrated 10 years of making diapers out of T-shirts. And meet, honey, twice a month on Friday night, two Friday nights a month, I think it is. And tell you, this congregation made up a bunch of old farmers. And some of the pictures of seeing an 80-year-old farmer sitting at a sewing machine is the most humorous thing I've ever seen in my life. But they've learned, and most of them didn't know how to do it until they started the project, and they do it as well. But we have a lot of people that do a lot of things, making baby bags. We try to, when we first got involved at Casa Materna, I made some comment to Don. I said, "You remember those things that you ladies get when they leave the hospital, little things?" I said, "Is there some way we could put bags like that together?" No, I didn't have anything to do with it. I just thought about it. Maybe could that be a possibility? And they ran with it, and it was and then a couple of other people have worked with it. We had a lady named Janice Davis, who stayed with us for several years. Here's a great example of people doing what they can. Janice is a lady that struggled with lupus. She could function about 5 hours a day. Her day needed to shut down about 4 o'clock, but she came and lived with us in Nicaragua for about 6 years, doing what she could do, especially with that project right there that continues today, and touching a lot of ladies in a lot of different ways. We build houses. We just able to respond. We're over the community disaster release committee. So whenever a hurricane or a tropical storm or rain causes destruction, we try to do our best to respond on when we can and how we can respond to the community, because the community is the people that we're serving and striving to reach as well. Next is children. What can I say? I'll just let you look at those pictures for just a second. As I said, somebody says, picture says 1,000 words. What can I say but when I say children? And we try to do a lot of different things with children. Primarily, our focus with children goes with our Kingdom Kids project. It's a child-sponsored program that we now have 1,400 children in 3 different countries, Nicaragua, Honduras, and Haiti. Most of the children in Nicaragua, we have a school of about 350 to 400. They're starting new. We haven't got the count for the 26 school year yet. But there are about 200 students, 400 students. And Haiti, also is a school. The only platform outside of Nicaragua we have in the mission is a school in Caricamas, Honduras, and a school in Duty, Haiti. Say a little prayer. If everything goes well, I'm going to be able. I hope to be able to travel with Jerry Myhan, a retired professor from Harding University. He was helping us with Haiti. It's also the reason we're there. He's the one that asked us to see if we could do that, and so we hope to be able to visit the school in Haiti the second week of March. I should keep that in your prayers. But Kingdom Kids, we have about 1,400. When all the numbers counted, we'll come up with about 1,400 children in these three countries. Currently, we have 735 active sponsors. That means we're needing about 700 sponsors. And so I'm here today to see if maybe y'all might consider it. Now, let me tell you a little story about that. You are one of the first congregations that actually did in number sponsors. We began Kingdom Kids in 2013. 2014, I met Roger at the Fried Hardman Lectures. And I shared with him, at that time it was by another name, we transitioned to Kingdom Kids a couple years later. And he said, "Oh, our people love that." So that was in February of that year. We go fast to the next January. We were having the Medical Missions Conference, the annual Medical Mission, African Christian Hospital Medical Missions Conference, was being held up in Rogers, Springdale area. So I arranged for that, and that would have been in January of 2014. No, 15 now. I called Roger. He got me the opportunity to come and speak. And I brought profiles that day. Because Roger said, "My people love this type of project." Quote, right? That's an exact quote from Roger. Standing in the back, that morning I brought 12 profiles. You took every one of them. I didn't bring enough. And I said something to Roger. I said, "I didn't bring any." And he looked at me. Another quote. He looked at me. I said, "I told you they'd take them." So this morning I'm putting you on the spot. We need some sponsors today, okay? If you can help us, there's some Donna will be back in the back. And if you are a sponsor and you have a question about your sponsored child, Donna's here also to answer that as well. So if you can help us, as I said, when it comes to what we do, the only way we do what we do is people like me go ask people like you to help us do what we do. And we need some help with the children and with the sponsors. Well, that's what those profiles similar to this you'll find on the table in the back. Smiles. Now this is something I believe I've talked too much in Pleasant Valley about, but something y'all might want to consider for next year. I'll make sure Ellen has all the information about it. She said something to me yesterday. Miss Ellen did. Came out and gave me a hug. She said, "Sure do love you." And that's the thing I'm thankful to Pleasant Valley, because when I walk in here, it's like every time I come in here, I feel like I'm where I'm supposed to be, among people I'm supposed to be about. And I thank you for that feeling and that support and that encouragement, for sure. But Smiles, this is a project. It's a simple Christmas box, Christmas gift for children. The last year we've sent to about 13,000. Is that what number? Yeah, 13,000 this year. Again, we're not able to get as many into Nicaragua. We hand carry some, get some in, but this year they've gone to Mexico, El Salvador, inner city of Little Rock, and Honduras primarily is where they've gone. But it is, here again, a smile in that little boy's face. He was a little fellow from El Salvador last January, and I was there. I don't know. That little face kind of says it all. I think of what that really says it all of what smiles is all about. I don't know any way I can do that. Guest missionaries, showing the world there's people who care. Now, this is an area where I'm asking. Now, many of you been to Nicaragua? I've been on Lonnie's for a couple of years now. He got me off of him because he had to go to Thailand last year. Couldn't say much about it, from there. But really wanted you to come back to Nicaragua. We need to come back. And it's about letting people know in the midst of uncertainty and questions, there's people who care. I said yesterday to the group that was packing, it was about happiness and the places of how people feel happy. And I was really thinking we were like 64th in countries rated for happiness, and I don't necessarily totally agree with that number. But the questions that they ask about, of course, the people who do those studies have a way of asking questions. But one of their questions is kind of why. And the answer most given to that is because they don't know anybody who cares anymore. It's a tough slap sometimes, you think about it, but think about our world. We've kind of had to pull ourselves in real tight, haven't we, in some ways, and understandably so, not being critical. I'm just saying it's something that it's a protective mechanism that we are, I think, because we're afraid it causes us not to then do some of the things. For example, during my health event, as you would say, the only time that the difficult part of the first surgery and that and what they shared with my wife, of course, I was still asleep, so I didn't know anything about that. Okay? Is that 5 minutes? You have to. That's first and 5 minutes later? Okay. And, but what got me was the next day or 2 days later when the kidney doctor came in and said, your kidneys have shut down. I'm not a crier. I was telling somebody last night on the phone, best I get some misty eyes. I don't cry. I cried. It scared me. Our daughter works for a dialysis company, though, in Chicago, and says that's normal. Normal in that it shuts down to protect. Because there had been an event in your system around it. It was, so it had shut down to protect it getting diseased, I guess you would say. And sometimes that's what we do when we see our world in a trauma. We have a tendency to close up, and we do it more to protect. Not as negative as I was when, hey, your kidneys are shut. That's negative. Well, okay. They did come back, and I'm fine. But sometimes we have to be careful that we don't draw in to a level that we don't reach out. It's easy to get there. And so it's not that we don't care. We get ourselves in the thing that we are not sharing that. We're not doing that. Now, grant you coming to Nicaragua is not just not ways you can do it here. You can do it in many different ways. I'm just saying that's one of the ways, especially to some people who really need to know that there are people who care. Because that's what it's about. I tell that group every time they come. We have medical groups, have construction groups. We have groups come to work with Kingdom Kids. We have all types of different groups that come to Nicaragua, but I tell them all the same. especially the medical groups. I'll say this on Sunday before their week starts. I said, I want you to realize this. You're not here to do medical. And I get some of these medical students look at me, well, if I'm not here to do medical, what am I doing here, you know? I said, you're not here to do that. You're not here to do a construction project. Please don't get so wrapped up in what you are doing that you miss the person around you. Because what you're doing in your medical, for example, is one of the best there is. It's a vehicle for you to show people you care without words. So I want to invite you. Talk to Lonnie about you're interested. We'll get some more information out there. There's some information about our group on our table. We'd love for you to come back to Nicaragua and make that full circle. Well, okay, we'll stop there. Well, the last slide just said thank you. Okay? And that's really what it's all about. And realize that's what you're about. I want you to hope you can be excited about what's happening in Nicaragua and Honduras and Haiti. And thankful for your part in it. Your major part in it. Not just a little part. You're a significant part. And for that, from the bottom of my heart, from 144 families and 11,000 plus folks that get touched on a monthly basis, I say thank you. Be blessed as you have blessed us. God be with you. I didn't hear the second bell, but I got done, okay?